As ladies and gentlemen, sisters and friends, today I stand before you not to dwell on heartbreak, but to celebrate power, the power of self-respect, the power of walking away, and the power of knowing your worth. We've all been there, giving our all to someone who only gave us half, prioritizing a person who saw us as an afterthought, waiting for love that should have been freely given. But today we flip the script. When someone treats you like an option, they are showing you exactly where you stand in their life. And guess what? That's your cue to stand even taller, walk away with grace, and let them experience what it feels like to be on the other side. Of course, here's an expanded version of the first key point. Knowing your worth is the foundation of self-respect, self-love, and a fulfilling life. It determines how you allow others to treat you, the standards you set in relationships, and the confidence you carry into every aspect of your life. When someone treats you like an option, it's not a reflection of your value, it's a reflection of their inability to see it. However, what truly matters is how you respond. Do you stay and accept being second best, or do you walk away knowing that you deserve more? The answer lies in recognizing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less. Many times people find themselves stuck in situations where they are constantly giving, constantly prioritizing, and constantly waiting for someone to reciprocate. They excuse neglect, tolerate disrespect, and cling to the hope that things will change. But here's the truth. People do not change unless they want to, and no amount of love or patience can make someone value you if they don't already see your worth. The only person who can ensure you are treated with respect is you. The moment you accept less than what you deserve, you give others permission to continue treating you that way. It all starts with the belief that you are enough. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. The right people will recognize it without you having to beg for attention, time, or love. When you truly embrace your value, you stop tolerating half-hearted efforts. You stop waiting for texts that never come, stop justifying someone's lack of effort, and stop making excuses for people who clearly do not prioritize you. Because the truth is, when someone truly cares, they show up. Love isn't confusing. It doesn't leave you wondering where you stand. It doesn't feel like a guessing game where you are always unsure of your place in someone's life. Walking away from someone who treats you like an option is not easy. It requires strength, courage, and a deep sense of self-love. But the moment you choose yourself, everything changes. You no longer live in a space of desperation, hoping that someone will choose you. Instead, you step into your power, knowing that the right person will never make you feel like an afterthought. You reclaim your dignity by refusing to beg for the bare minimum. And in doing so, you set a new standard, not just for how others should treat you, but for how you treat yourself. The world mirrors back the energy you put out. When you accept less, you attract people who give less. But when you raise your standards, you naturally draw in those who are capable of meeting them. It's not about being arrogant or having unrealistic expectations. It's about knowing that love, respect, and effort should be mutual. A one-sided relationship is not a relationship. It's a situation where one person benefits while the other suffers. And you are too valuable, too extraordinary to settle for anything that drains you rather than uplifts you. One of the most powerful shifts happens when you start treating yourself the way you want to be treated. If you desire respect, start respecting yourself. If you want love, love yourself first. If you crave attention and effort, invest that energy in yourself instead of chasing someone who doesn't appreciate it. The more you pour into yourself, your dreams, your growth, your happiness, the less you feel the need to seek validation from others. You realize that being alone is far better than being with someone who makes you feel unseen and unimportant. When you walk away from someone who treated you like an option, they will feel your absence, maybe not immediately, but eventually they will realize that they lost someone who truly cared, someone who was willing to give them the kind of love they couldn't even appreciate. But by then, it won't matter. Because by choosing yourself, you will have moved on to bigger and better things. You will have embraced a life where you are no longer waiting for someone to realize your value. You will already be living in that truth. The pain of realizing you were never a priority to someone you deeply cared for can be heartbreaking, but that pain is temporary. What lasts is the strength you gain from walking away, the wisdom you carry into future relationships, and the unshakable confidence that comes with knowing your worth. Because the moment you truly understand how valuable you are, you become unstoppable. You stop chasing, you stop begging, and you start attracting the kind of love and respect that you always deserve. So never allow yourself to be treated as an option. You are not someone's backup plan, not their convenience, and certainly not a placeholder until something better comes along. You are the prize. The moment you start believing that, the world will treat you accordingly. And the ones who couldn't see it, let them watch as you rise, as you glow, and as you thrive without them. When someone takes you for granted and treats you like an option, it can be painful, frustrating, and even confusing. You may find yourself questioning what went wrong, why you weren't enough, or what you could have done differently. But the truth is, the problem was never about you. It was about them, their inability to recognize your worth, their failure to appreciate what they had, and their selfishness in keeping you around without fully committing. Instead of dwelling on what you could have done to make them see your value, the real power comes in flipping the script. You don't beg, you don't plead, you don't try to prove yourself. Instead, you do something much more powerful. You walk away with grace and confidence. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care or that the connection wasn't real. It simply means you care about yourself more. It means you refuse to stay in a situation where you are not valued, where you are not appreciated, and where you are made to feel like an afterthought. By choosing to leave, you take control of your own happiness. You reclaim your self-worth, showing that you will not settle for half-hearted love, inconsistency, or someone who only sees you as an option when it's convenient for them. The power in walking away comes from the message it sends, not just to them, but to yourself. It tells them that you refuse to be part of their games, that you are not waiting around for their attention, and that you are perfectly capable of thriving without them. More importantly, it tells you that you are strong enough to let go of anything that does not serve you. It reinforces your ability to prioritize yourself, to demand respect, and to create space for the kind of love that you truly deserve. People who take others for granted often do so because they believe that person will always be there. They assume they can come and go as they please, that no matter how poorly they treat you, you will always be available. But when you walk away, when you remove yourself from the cycle of being an option, they are forced to face a reality they never expected, a reality where they no longer have access to you. At first, they may not react. They may believe that you'll come back, that you'll miss them too much, or that your absence is temporary. But as time goes on, they begin to feel the weight of your absence. They start to realize that what they took for granted is gone. The attention, the care, the affection that they once dismissed so easily is now something they can no longer reach. And that realization, that's when they finally understand what they lost. But by the time they recognize your value, it's too late, because by then you have moved on. You have focused on yourself, healed, and built a life where you are no longer dependent on their validation. And that is the most powerful transformation of all. Instead of seeking closure from them, you create your own closure. Instead of waiting for them to change, you change your own mindset. Instead of looking back, you look forward, embracing the opportunities and happiness that await you. Walking away with grace doesn't mean holding on to bitterness or seeking revenge. It means leaving with dignity, without the need for dramatic exits or hurtful words. It means allowing them to feel the consequences of their actions without lowering yourself to their level. True strength is found in the ability to move forward without looking back, and knowing that the best revenge is success, happiness, and a life that no longer includes someone who once treated you as an option. You deserve someone who chooses you every single day, someone who never makes you question your importance in their life. And the only way to attract that kind of love is to first show yourself that you are worthy of it. By walking away, you set a new standard, not just for relationships, but for every aspect of your life. You prove to yourself that you will never again accept anything less than what you deserve. So when someone treats you like an option, let them. But also let them feel what it's like to lose someone who was willing to give them everything. Let them experience the emptiness that comes when you remove your presence, your kindness, and your love. Let them sit with the realization that they lost someone truly valuable. And most importantly, let yourself move forward knowing that you were never the one who lost. You were the one who won by choosing yourself. When someone treats you like an option, the best response isn't revenge or bitterness. It's leveling up in style. It's about shifting your focus away from the person who didn't value you and toward the one person who truly matters, yourself. Instead of wasting energy wondering why they couldn't see your worth, you invest in becoming the best version of yourself. You turn pain into power, rejection into redirection, and disappointment into motivation. And You don't just move on. You rise, you glow, and you thrive in ways that make them realize exactly what they lost. The first step to leveling up is recognizing that your value was never dependent on their validation. Too often, people seek approval from those who don't even deserve a place in their lives. But the moment you stop looking outward for acceptance and start looking inward for fulfillment, everything changes. You start to see yourself through a new lens, one that isn't clouded by someone else's inability to appreciate you. You remind yourself that your worth isn't defined by how someone else treated you, but by how you choose to treat yourself. Leveling up means redirecting your energy toward personal growth. Instead of obsessing over what went wrong or hoping they'll come back, you channel that energy into your goals, dreams, and ambition. You start working on yourself, not for them, but for you. You hit the gym, focus on your health, advance in your career, pick up new skills, and cultivate a life that excites you. Every step you take towards self-improvement is a step away from the past and a step closer to the future you deserve. When you level up, you elevate not just your external success, but also your mindset. You develop a sense of self-assurance that makes it impossible for anyone to treat you as an option again. Confidence isn't about arrogance. It's about knowing your value and refusing to settle for anything less. You walk differently, talk differently, and carry yourself with the kind of energy that commands respect. People can feel when you know your worth, and they respond to it accordingly. Those who once took you for granted will notice the shift, but by then it won't matter because you'll be too busy living your best life to care about their regrets. Part of leveling up is surrounding yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. When you're treated like an option, it can leave you feeling unworthy, but the truth is the right people will never make. Silence is one of the most powerful responses you can give when someone treats you like an option. It speaks louder than words, carries more weight than any argument, and leaves a lasting impact without you having to lift a finger. When someone takes you for granted, the natural reaction might be to confront them, demand answers, or try to make them see your worth. But the reality is people know what they are doing. They know when they are not prioritizing you, when they are keeping you as an option, and when they are only giving you the bare minimum. So instead of explaining your worth to someone who already knows but chooses to ignore it, let your silence be the message. Choosing silence doesn't mean you are weak or that you don't care. In fact, it is the opposite. It shows that you have enough self-respect to walk away without begging for attention, validation, or closure. It means you understand that actions speak louder than words, and that if someone truly valued you, they wouldn't put you in a position where you had to question your importance in their life. Your silence becomes a reflection of your self-worth. It shows that you refuse to engage in a battle that was never yours to fight in the first place. When you stop responding, stop explaining, and stop chasing, you shift the power dynamic. The person who once took you for granted suddenly starts to feel your absence. At first, they may not notice because they were used to having easy access to you, but as time passes, the weight of your silence will become undeniable. They will realize that the person who once cared, who once reached out, who once made the effort is no longer there, and that realization will hit harder than any words ever could. Silence creates space for reflection. While you focus on healing and moving forward, the person who treated you as an option is left with nothing but their own thoughts. They may try to reach out, test the waters, or see if they still have control over your emotions, but by maintaining your silence, you show them that their access to you is no longer guaranteed. You are no longer the person who waits, who hopes, or who accepts less than what they deserve. You are now the person who chooses peace over chaos, self-respect over desperation, and dignity over unnecessary conversations. One of the greatest benefits of silence is the way it protects your energy. Arguing, pleading, or trying to prove your worth is exhausting. It drains you emotionally, mentally, and even physically. But when you choose silence, you redirect that energy back to yourself. Instead of seeking validation from someone who doesn't deserve it, you start validating yourself. You focus on your growth, your happiness, and your goals. You take back control of your emotions and no longer allow someone else's inconsistency to dictate your mood or your self-esteem. People often come back when they realize they have lost something valuable. When you stay silent, it creates an air of mystery. They start wondering what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're no longer available. This curiosity often turns into regret, and regret turns into an attempt to return. But by the time they realize what they lost, you will have already moved on to better things. And that is the true power of silence. It allows you to outgrow the very people who underestimated you. Silence also teaches you an important lesson about self-worth. It forces you to sit with your emotions, heal on your own terms, and recognize that closure doesn't always come from another person. Sometimes the best closure is deciding that you deserve more and refusing to engage with anything that does not align with your value. It's about understanding that the right person will never put you in a position where silence is necessary. They will choose you, respect you, and make you feel secure without you having to ask for it. When someone treats you like an option, let them experience what it feels like to lose access to you. Not through anger, not through revenge, but through silence, because in that silence, they will hear everything they need to know. And while they sit in the discomfort of their own choices, you will be too busy living your best life to even notice. You were never meant to be an option. You were always the prize. The moment you start seeing yourself that way, everything changes. Too often, people settle for less than they deserve because they are afraid of being alone, afraid of losing someone, or afraid that they won't find better. But the truth is, the only way to attract the love, respect, and commitment you desire is to first believe that you are worthy of it. When you recognize that you are the prize, you stop chasing, you stop begging, and you stop settling for people who cannot see your value. Being the prize is not about arrogance or thinking you are better than others. It is about self-respect, self-awareness, and self-love. It means knowing that you deserve to be treated with kindness, consistency, and effort. It means setting standards and refusing to lower them for someone who doesn't meet them. It means understanding that love should never feel like a constant battle for attention or validation. The right person will see your worth without you having to convince them, and they will treat you like a priority, not an option. One of the biggest shifts that happens when you embrace this mindset is that you start attracting different kinds of people into your life. When you believe you are the prize, you carry yourself differently. You exude confidence, self-assurance, and a level of self-worth that makes it clear that you will not tolerate anything less than what you deserve. And when people see that you respect yourself, they either rise to meet your standards or they walk away. Either way, you win, because those who leave were never meant to be in your life in the first place. The problem many people face is that they try to prove their worth to someone who doesn't appreciate them. They overextend, they overgive, and they overlook red flags in the hopes that the other person will finally realize their value. But love isn't something you should have to convince someone to give. If you constantly feel like you are auditioning for a place in someone's life, then you are in the wrong relationship. The right person will never make you feel like you have to earn their love or attention. They will give it freely because they recognize your worth from the start. When you start seeing yourself as the prize, you become more selective about who you allow into your life. You stop entertaining people who bring nothing but confusion, inconsistency, and half-hearted effort. You start prioritizing your peace, your happiness, and your growth. You realize that being single is far better than being in a relationship where you feel undervalued. And when you operate from this place of confidence and self-worth, you naturally attract people who see and appreciate you for who you truly are. Some people may try to convince you that your standards are too high, that you are being unrealistic, or that you should settle for what's available. But never let anyone make you feel guilty for expecting the love and respect that you deserve. High standards do not mean you are asking for too much. They mean you refuse to accept too little. The right person will never be intimidated by your standards. They will rise to meet them, and anyone who tries to convince you to lower them is simply not meant for you. When you embrace the mindset of being the prize, you stop placing your happiness in someone else's hands. You no longer need validation from a relationship to feel complete because you already know your worth. You find fulfillment in yourself, in your passions, in your growth, and in the people who genuinely love and support you. And from that place of wholeness, you attract love that is real, reciprocated, and respectful. The moment you stop seeing yourself as an option and start seeing yourself as the prize, the entire dynamic of your relationships changes. You no longer settle for situations that leave you feeling unworthy or unappreciated. You no longer accept the bare minimum. You demand more, not through words, but through actions, by walking away from anything that does not align with your value. At the end of the day, the person who truly deserves you will never make you question where you stand in their life. They will cherish you, prioritize you, and love you the way you deserve to be loved. Until that person comes along, focus on yourself. Build the life you want, become the best version of yourself, and trust that the right person will recognize your worth without you ever having to prove it, because you were never just an option. You were always the prize.